Welcome back to the Sports Bar here. Unfortunately, Sunderland have suffered another defeat, this time on the road down at the King Power Stadium. We'll look back at the highlights here now, Danny, back here in the Sports Bar. We'll discuss where we think things might have gone wrong for Sunderland this evening. What did you make of the game overall, though, Danny?
Well, it was certainly an open game, wasn't it? I think both teams had opportunities. This one here for Jack early on. Good play down that right-hand side. Say link-up play. Luke carries on his run. Just feeds a lovely little ball in behind the Leicester back line. Comes out to Jack, touch out of his feet. I said not too much goal to work with. Tries to drill it past the goalkeeper at his near post. It's a decent save. So I thought early on we controlled the game. We had good passages of play. And then out of nowhere, this happens, doesn't it, again, like it did at the weekend down at Stoke. You know, everybody's back there. Who's got him? Luke has him initially. Then as the corner's taken, Luke takes his eyes off him and looks to see Luke now. He's got him there, and then all of a sudden he's looking. I think he's got an eye on Vestergaard, and then James Justin just gets the run on Job at the near post. It's a decent header, decent ball in from their point of view. But again, we've got to tighten it up defensively from set plays. And then to be fair to the boys, they did carry on. Dan Neil, who I thought was excellent, bends a nice little ball into that far post area. You see both Luke and Dan Bollard trying to get there. It's just a fraction too far ahead of them. But yeah, I thought we more than held our own throughout the game, really. They had a little spell at the start of the second half, which we'll obviously have a look at. But then towards the end of the game, we came on quite strong, but it just didn't happen for us in front of goal.
That was the first of many good saves from Anthony Patterson. Yeah,
he made a few tonight, didn't he? And that one with his right boot there. I think he's gambling. He's got to go to his left-hand side, so his body weight's going to his left, but he just adjusts and gets a right boot on it, up onto that post. This is that little deflected one, isn't it? Yeah, I think both Mason Burstow and Fazer behind him get a touch on it. You know, you see this time again with Jack. Cuts inside, doesn't catch it too cleanly. I think Mason gets a touch on it, and as I said there, the centre-back behind him, a little bit more on him. You're wrong foot in the goalkeeper. Big opportunity there for Job, isn't it? And he knows. You see Luke as well in behind him, who's free. Lovely ball in from Dan Neil, set back to him first time. Lovely ball. Two men free at the far post there, and Job 5 yards out. He's got to put that away, hasn't he? And you know, he knows. Nobody needs to tell him. He's only 18-year-old, but just gets it wrong. His timing on the flight of the ball. But again, Leicester opportunities out to Iheanacho there. Too many touches. Opportunity goes away for him. So the game was really open. And I was a little bit surprised in the way we would maybe set up. I thought we'd be a little bit conservative and just sit back a little bit. But credit to the boys. They went out there. They pressed Leicester, stopped them playing their game the way they wanted to. And pretty much they've done the same to ourselves as well, really. They wanted to try and press us high, so it made for a decent open game. And I think I'm surprised it only finished at 1-0, to be honest. I think, you know, you're looking at the highlights and time again. Iheanacho, he could have had a hat-trick possibly. I think Anthony Patterson just gets a little bit of a glove on that one as well. Yeah, and this one here, Mason, isn't it? Ball into him, spins his man there, and Ricardo Pereira's across on the cover.
How about this one then?
Well, yeah, at first we thought he'd won the ball, but when you see it back, you see Dan Neil, nobody's really getting around the referee. And you see there, left leg, doesn't get any of the ball, and that for me is a penalty. Only Dan Neil is the only one who gets up. You see it there, yeah, he's clipped his left boot, hasn't he? None of the ball. And then two of them get up, and Faze has a little bit of a laugh and a joke with Dan Neil. But yeah, it's one of those where you want VAR to come into play, and I think if VAR's involved, you're getting a penalty there. And then right at half-time, another opportunity, isn't it? Difficult one for Dan. Again, both centre-backs are in the box. Second phase, I think, from the set play. Again, it's Dan Neil, isn't it? Bends a lovely ball in there. It's just behind Dan Bollard. He has to almost turn around and try and generate the power on it himself. And then start the second half now. Yeah, Leicester opportunities. Niall there.
Another good save from Anthony Patterson.
I think he sees it late. Niall, it almost hits him and he puts it back into that dangerous area. But it's a good save from Anthony Patterson. And this one here, ball to the edge of the box. Again, comfortable save really. Takes the power out of it, down onto the floor, wasn't it? Yeah, just look back at that one now. That one's a good save with his left boot. Thinks he's scored there. And so they start the half quite strong, Leicester, to be fair to them. Again, Iheanacho wasn't his night in front of the goal. Past the far post, Anthony Patterson not called into action for that one. So you see Leicester, yeah, they had a good spell for me, 10-15 minutes after the break, where they looked like they were going to go and get that second goal, but while they never, we stayed in the game. And we tried to get Patrick into the game, and I think it was a frustrating night for Patrick. Time and time again, he was getting a lot of the ball, but he couldn't quite get out of his feet, or the opportunity went away for him. See it this one now. He gets a little nudge there.
He's kind of stumbled through,
yeah,
doesn't
and then
he?
the ball's just left behind him, and then see there, Dan Neil, I think, isn't it, just trying to stand it up for Jack at the far post, and Faze just gets a little touch on it. This is another one cut back, isn't it? Dennis Serkin with the block off his chest.
Cassidy again.
Yeah, I think it's almost chest, shoulder area, isn't it, from Dennis. So yeah, so it was a real open game, wasn't it? A real open game, and I'm saying there, it's surprised there's only one goal in it. But credit to the boys, you know, although we're getting back on the bus with no points again, they kept on going. You know, we made the changes, and I think just at this moment in time, we're just missing that piece in the middle of the box, isn't it? That man who gets you the goals. You know, we're getting into good areas time and time again. See there, we've got 5 bodies in the box. Patrick trying to make things happen. Set back for Dan, gets underneath that one, and we had 2 or 3 of these late on in the game. Abdullah Bar has one in a minute, which we'll get on to. I think it might be this one now, is it?
Yeah, fair play to Dan Neil. He kept on going all
night.
night.
Dan, yeah, but I said that he did look leggy towards the end of the game. He put a lot in that first half. Dan, he was controlling a lot of the midfield. See Winks there, just gets it wrong, doesn't it? Opens up for Dan, and you can see what he's looking. He's looking to try and find that far corner. He just gets it wrong, and I think he was getting a little bit leggy at this stage. And Abdullah Bar is on there now, isn't he? Set back for Dennis, similar. Up and over the top there from Dennis. So we were getting into good areas, but not perhaps making the goalkeeper work as much as we would have liked.
Yeah, it's gone through the final few moments now from the game. Someone's still asking questions deep into the game, though.
This is the one now, isn't it? Alex Pritchard just reads it. I think Faze is trying to see it through to the goalkeeper as he just toes it into Abdullah Bar's path. And, you know, yes, I think he does have to lift it because the goalkeeper's coming across on the floor, but it's that little bit of composure. You know, certainly at least got to hit the target there. And you see Tony's reaction. He knows there. So we had some good opportunities, of course, Leicester did. But, you know, it's a blank at their end of the pitch. I think, you know, we said it there, they've not conceded a goal, have they, after, 60 minutes of the game so far this season. So they'll be delighted. They know they've been in the game tonight, and they'll be in the change rooms, the Leicester lads, saying, do you know what, Sunderland aren't a bad team, but they're the ones who have picked up the 3 points, and for us, 3 defeats on the bounce, and Norwich to come at the weekend.
Has another referee decision cost us this evening? I don't know. I mean, what about the people in the sports bar here? Do you think it was a penalty? Yep, pretty unanimous.
Yeah, everyone agrees. I think not too many no's behind us, but yeah, I think anyone that sees it, they'll say it's a penalty, and I think it's one of them from the referee. You know, I know refs are coming under some stick from our point of view in recent games. He gets one look at it. He's maybe looking through a few bodies. Linesman's on the far side. Can he help him out? If he hasn't got a view of it, then it's one of them. Yeah, VAR comes into play there, and I think every day of the week that's going to get given as a penalty. Let's
have a look at the scores then around the Championship this evening. A few games tonight and tomorrow. Swansea City 0, Watford 1, Millwall 1, Blackburn Rovers 2, Norwich, who Sunderland face on Saturday at the Stadium Light. They were beaten 2-1 at home by Middlesbrough. Huddersfield Town 0, Cardiff City 4, and West Brom scored 2 in the second half to beat Queen's Park Rangers at home. Let's move on to the thoughts of a couple of people watching around the world. Let's have a look at the first one from Nick. He says, we competed well today, but without any finish. Do we still need a centre forward? Nick from Vancouver. Well, thanks for being tuned in, Nick. Well, we got a few centre forwards in the last transfer window, but we just haven't found the solution yet, have we?
Yeah, I think I knew that question had come up. I think, you know, obviously Mason Burstow was back in the starting lineup tonight. I don't think he's had an opportunity, has he? You know, you can say he's working hard. His link-up play at times was okay, but it's getting in the box, getting a bit of service in there for him. So he's still to get off the mark. You know, Rusin didn't get involved tonight. Hemir's coming off the bench late on. So yeah, it's a concern. I think we've done well so far this season where we're scoring goals from other areas, but I said earlier in the season, if that starts to dry up, then naturally you've got to look at the top end of the pitch. You know, for all the good football we play, if you've got a proper fox in the box type of striker, they'll be licking their lips at some of the football we play and some of the opportunities we create. And by now, what are we, 13 games into the season, you'd expect a proper out-and-out number 9 to be getting 8 to 10 goals for us so far this season for the chances we create. So I'm sure it's a concern for Tony. He's weighing things up. He's seen these boys day in, day out on the training pitch as well, where naturally most managers will pick their team from. So it's almost back to the drawing board, but we've got a quick turnaround to go again at the weekend against Norwich. So we'll have to see what he does. You know, at the weekend, he went with Patrick Robertson, Alex Pritchard at the top end of the pitch, while you've got strikers on the bench. So that is almost a bit of a signal, really, isn't it? You know, to the fans watching the game, they think, well, we've got a couple of centre forwards sat on the bench while you're playing a number 10 and a winger, really, in their position. So something they're going to have to look at. And obviously, yeah, maybe when we get to January, we're still a little bit off that yet. But we've got to get these lads firing who we've got in the squad now.
Let's have a look at another one of your thoughts watching around the world from Leighton. This one, it says, do you think we should start playing two up front again like Sims and Stewart did? I mean, who do you put up there then?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? It's a centre-forward questions. And, well, you know, you think Tony's looking at it, almost a 4-4-2 at the weekend, changed it maybe more to a 4-2-3-1 tonight with Job just behind Mason Burstow. And I'm sure they're going to look at it again before the weekend. They'll be back on the bus on the way back up. And they'll say, do you know what? We've created 4 or 5 good opportunities against the team who are more than likely going to get promoted this season on their own patch. But again, we've come away with a clean sheet in terms of, you know, Leicester not conceding. So it's a concern. Will I play 2 up top at the minute? It depends who you go with. Probably not, no. I think if you're looking at your strongest team, who do you put in your position? You start with Jack and probably Patrick. So there's your 2 wingers, really. If you're a 4-3-3, if you are looking at going for a 2 up top, it's more likely going to be a 4-4-2, really. But I'd go with Dan and Pierre Ecquart if he's okay. If he looked a bit leggy there setting off, he's probably still feeling his injury. But go with those 2 in there, and maybe Job or an Alex Pritchard just ahead of them. But then it's who do you play in that top end of the role? He might look to rotate them. You know, why not give Roos a little run out at the top end of the pitch and see how he goes? I don't know. That's their problem to work out between now and the weekend. You
don't have to worry about that. Let's have a look at what will be the last one from Jake. He says, the officials are ruining every game, every week. We need to see a change of officiating. I'm not too sure what the solution is there, though, Danny, because if you're bad at the Premier League, you come down to the Championship. Keith Stroud's been around the block.
Yeah.
And apart from the penalty decision, you know, the Leicester fans will say that he give a lot of decisions our way.
Yeah,
tonight.
You could hear them moaning, couldn't you, every time the ball went up to Iheanacho competing with Dan Ballard or Luke O'Neill. They wanted a free kick. That happens every game. You're not going to get those, you know, centre forwards backing in. Centre half wants to stand his ground and compete for the ball. But obviously, if you're looking at tonight's game, I didn't think he was that bad. Obviously, the penalty decision, which, you know, we get to obviously look at it a couple of times and see that contact that he doesn't get any of the ball. He gets a bit of Dan Neil's left leg. So, yes, naturally, Sunderland fans are going to see that. I think, well, has it done as out of a point, you know, penalty, do we convert it? We're getting back on the bus with a 1-1 draw. It's not meant to be. We've obviously got the previous games, the goal at the weekend with the handball, Dan Neil obviously getting sent off, etc. And it keeps snowballing. I can guarantee if you watch other games, there'll be decisions in those games. What do you do about refereeing? I don't know. What do you do? Do you want more people to come on courses, and what can they change?
Well, I mean, VAR would have made.
Well, I was just going to say, you look at Premier League level and you watch Match of the Day. They get decisions wrong in every game you watch there. They've even got VAR and they still get decisions wrong. So, you know, I think we can talk about it all night long, but I'm not sure it's going to change much.
Let's not do that then. We will have a look now at the league table as it stands this evening, with games to be played tomorrow and, of course, at the weekend as well. Sunderland have moved down to 9th this evening, having played 13 on 19 points, but we're in that section now between 4th or 5th all the way down pretty far, which is only separated by a few points.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, opportunity to go 3rd this evening. Another defeated, we're dropping. I said it's tight there, isn't it? Obviously, you got Leicester and Ipswich right up there with a little bit of a gap, and then right down there, look, the odd point here and there between the teams, isn't it? So, yeah, we've got to get back to winning ways. Back at the Stadium of Light at the weekend, up against a Norwich team who it's not going to be obviously a stroll in the park. So, lads have got to try and recover sharpish and get ready to go again.
Okay, that's it for us this evening here in the Sports Bar. We're back in action on Saturday. We're at home against Norwich City at 2:15 start for us here on SAFC Live with a 3 p.m. kickoff. We'll hopefully be down the pitch side, all being well for that one. So join us for that around the world. You can get your Match of the Day streaming passes right now at safc.com. And thanks to everyone who joined us in the Sports Bar as well this evening. We'll see you soon.